Hello again, Rochelle here. I am still currently in my medical clearance process, so I'm not actively pregnant or actively trying to get pregnant. We're still in the process of making sure that I am a good fit for surrogacy. Everything else is passed. My blood work looks good. My medical history looks good. I even did my psychological evaluation already. My husband also did his blood work and that all passed. We're just waiting on my uterine lining to be thick enough, which this isn't uncommon. I've gone through this process once before where it took 3 checks until my uterine lining was thick enough, and it could be a combination of hormone levels and just kind of how your body is recovering. I just had a baby last summer, and then I had a failed transfer as well, so my body has had a lot to deal with in the last 2 years, and I haven't had a lot of natural cycles. So I'm currently doing medicated cycles on estrogen. I just had one where I did estrogen for 21 days and we checked my lining and it was only 5.8 and we're looking for at least 8 millimeters. We're gonna do the same process. I'm gonna wait for my period, and on the second day of my period I'll start my estrace, which is my twice a day estrogen pill, and then I'll do that for 21 days again. We'll check my uterine lining. This time I'm going to incorporate some tips and tricks that I found online to help with uterine thickness, which a lot of it just kind of promotes a healthy blood circulation. So things like staying warm, exercising for at least 30 minutes, eating things that are rich in iron, as well as a vitamin E supplement or an iron supplement itself. Eating things with fruits and vegetables. So it specifically said things like strawberries, oranges. I was going to pick up some spinach. I was going to try to eat more broccoli. So I have a plan when it comes to what food I want to try eating more of, what I need to put into my life, like 30 minutes of exercise, as well as trying to get more than 7 hours of sleep. That's kind of what I want to incorporate as well as activities go. Another thing that I want to incorporate is also a castor oil pack. They said online that this was also supposed to be super helpful. I kind of think of it as like a giant reusable band-aid, and you put castor oil on it and then you wear it on your abdomen for anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour. So I thought that would be super fun to try because it has more benefits than just uterine lining thickness. This is encouraged for a whole bunch of different reasons, so it's not anything bad. It can only be beneficial. So I was going to try that as well. I was also going to start taking vitamin E supplements as well as iron supplements. I honestly could use both of those anyway. Again, this is something that I could continue outside of the surrogacy. Right now I'm only taking a vitamin for hair, skin, and nail support. I like having strong fingernails and obviously like taking care of my hair, so that's the only vitamin I take right now. It would not hurt me to incorporate vitamin E and iron supplements. So with the supplements, the castor oil pack, I'm gonna start using a heating pad to help keep me warm. I'm gonna have my 30 minutes of exercise. I work from home doing data entry for a hospital, so I'm sitting in my desk chair for like 8 hours a day, sometimes more. I like doing overtime if I can, so I'm going to try to make it a habit of maybe once an hour getting up and walking around the house to keep my blood circulating. I remember after my embryo transfer, we would fly home typically the next day, and they would encourage me on my 3-hour flight to stand up about halfway through, move my body around and keep my blood moving to help the embryo stick. So I'm gonna kind of use that advice in this scenario when it comes to building my uterine lining. Especially there's like between day 5 and 14 of your cycle, it's really important to do the blood circulation because that's when your body is really priming that uterine lining. I do this thing called Pomodoro, I think is what it's called. And a lot of people set a timer and they focus for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break and then focus for 25, take a 5-minute break. And after 4 cycles of that, then they will take a longer break, normally like anywhere between 15 minutes to 30. Normally on that 10-minute break, I even get up and try to do a chore around the house. I have daily chores, like I empty the dishwasher every day, I scoop the litter box every day, and then I have a list of 7 things just Sunday through Saturday that I do, and I'll try to get one of that chore done during that time. If I can get that done while I'm through my working hours, then in the evening I can rest. Having that 10-minute timer is the perfect excuse to get up from my office chair and move my body around to help my blood circulation. So I'm also going to try using my heating pad. I bought a really cool heating pad. It is battery powered. It also has a vibration setting, which I think is super cool. And I bought it for when I was doing my injections. So I found when I do my injections to prevent kind of the collection of the progesterone, because when you do the progesterone shots for several days, after a few weeks of doing it, as you keep injecting it into the same hip and around the same area, it can kind of pool or collect in one spot and create like a lump that's pretty painful. I've noticed that if I use my heating pad for an hour after my shot, that keeping the progesterone warm in that area helps spread it out and keep it moving through my body so that it doesn't create that lump. I did 78 shots during my first surrogacy journey, and 75 of those I self-administered. I got really good at it, as well as I learned what my body needs in order to take those shots well. A lot of people recommend doing icing before to prevent pain. I never did that because I didn't like how the cold felt, and the needle itself didn't actually hurt me. So I just focused on the aftercare. Like, I tried laying down after the shot, and I thought maybe resting in bed with a heating pad would help, and I found that to be the opposite. I think if I laid down after the shot, especially near the area, it caused it to pull even more. So I definitely don't think you should lay down after a shot. I sit up at my office desk with my heating pad for an hour. I also massage the area for at least 5 minutes. I think I have it. Yeah, I bought this little massager. Super easy to use. So I would do the shot, and then I would rub it myself with my hand. I would massage it with this for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I would put the heating pad on and wear that for an hour. And it was perfect. My shots did amazing, especially near the end of it when it gets really bad. I could handle it. Rotating sides worked awesome. I had a pretty good sized area where I knew it was safe to do. My progesterone levels never dropped. I never had any issues with that, so I had a good routine for my shot. But I still have that heating pad because I can plan on doing more surrogacy journeys, and I can use that on my uterus or even just on my body to keep me warm and encourage my blood circulation to help with my uterine lining thickness. So I'm grateful for the heating pad that I have. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to eat a healthy diet. I made like a grocery list of all the things that I read about that would encourage my uterine lining thickness. So I have a list of food, a list of activities, some vitamins that I wanna do, and then I'm gonna do that castor oil pack in my heating pad. And I'm hoping incorporating all of those things during both my medical clearance, trying to make my uterine lining thick, as well as if I notice that any of these things worked, I can incorporate those again while I'm doing my actual embryo transfer to encourage a thick uterine lining. I believe with my first surrogacy journey that my lining was like 15 millimeters thick. She was thick and first baby stuck. So anything to keep a very thick uterine lining so I'm super sticky for baby. So if it works during my medical clearance, I will discuss it with the physicians and the doctors at my fertility clinic and just show them kind of the research that I found and say, hey, this is what I've noticed. This is what I've noticed works for me as well. Can I continue with all of this? I've asked them about different vitamins before as well as exercise, and they've told me yes or no depending on things like my hair, skin, and nail support, as well as one point I was taking medicine to prevent UTIs because I had a few last summer right after having the baby. But I'm not on that anymore, so I don't have to worry about that specifically. But my fertility clinic has been really easy to reach out to and talk to. Typically, if I call them, I can talk to a nurse right away, and if I can't, they'll give me a call back within 24 hours. Our emails are always responded with really quickly, so I feel very happy and comfortable with my fertility clinic, knowing that I can reach out to them if I have any questions. I play on a rec volleyball league. It's not competitive. Most of the players that I play with are over 40 even. I'm only 29 myself, so playing with a bunch of 40-year-olds. We are not competitive. We don't dive for the floor. We're not risking our bodies for this by any means. But when I reached out to my fertility clinic during my last embryo transfer and asked if I could continue playing, they advised that no, it's not safe for baby. So that was something that I had to kind of give up during my surrogacy journey, but I know that it's not forever. After the surrogacy journeys, once my body is recovered, I can resume playing volleyball. There are going to be some things that you miss out on during the surrogacy process, but it's not so much a loss as it is just something you have to set aside. Where I live in southern Missouri, we have something called Silver Dollar City near us. It's a theme park, and it's got dozens of roller coaster rides. It's huge, it's hilly, it's so much fun, but it's not safe to ride those roller coasters while you're pregnant. Last year we had season passes, and I took my son several times, and there's plenty of rides that he can ride at the age of 7 by himself, and it was just a matter of pacing myself because it is very hilly. So I had to pace myself, making sure I wasn't taking the hills too fast, make sure to rest plenty, drink a bunch of water. It does get to like 100 degrees here during the summer. It was just a matter of pacing myself as well as watching my son have fun instead of getting to ride those rides with him. I had the baby last June on the 30th, and after my 6 weeks, I even waited a little bit longer before getting on a roller coaster again, just in case. I wanted to give my uterus time to heal before trying to throw myself around. I was also pumping breast milk. I pumped breast milk for 3 months last time and donated to a company called NICU. I was able to bring my breast pump in. They had nursing stations around, so I would stop every 2 to 3 hours and pump. That was super nice. There's just gonna be little things throughout the journey that you miss out on in the moment, and then you get to get back to your normal life afterwards, really quickly afterwards even. My family, my surrogacy family, my intended parents, they didn't want to have like a relationship afterwards, which I was totally fine with. I knew that we were going to have an amazing journey together, and that after baby was delivered and they had their baby, that we could say thank you so much for the journey and move on. And so that's kind of how it felt. They live in a different country, so they didn't want the breast milk, and so I still wanted to pump for my own personal reasons. I pumped for 12 months with my son, and I know that pumping breast milk can help contract your uterus and kind of almost speed up the healing process. So I went ahead and I pumped for 3 months. I did donate to that NICU company that I talked about. It's NI-Q, but it's supposed to sound like NICU because you're donating to hospitals, and the breast milk is going to be given to NICU babies that otherwise would be drinking formula, or maybe their moms aren't producing, whatever the reason, they need breast milk. So I was able to donate 4 boxes of like 600 ounces each over the course of 3 months. They do compensate as well, which was an added bonus to the experience. They paid $1 per ounce. So that was a super awesome experience to also have after my surrogacy journey. But after having baby, we said our goodbyes. After pumping the breast milk, I went back to life as normal. And I'm currently on my second surrogacy journey, hoping to be pregnant. And everything goes well, which it should. I plan on doing a third surrogacy journey. So this would leave me as a woman having had 4 children, which is mind-blowing that I would be a mother of 1, but have had 4 children. And I think that's such a cool thing to like slap onto like my personal resume of like who I am as a person. Like if I continue exercising or playing volleyball and people are like, oh, you're so lucky you've had 1 kid. It's like, actually, I had 4. My mom had 5 kids, so I know that my family line and my body are capable of doing such a thing as having 4 children. But I'm super excited to get started on this next surrogacy journey. I wanted to try to get all of my surrogacy journeys done by the time I'm 35, and the big thing that surrogacy has taught me is patience, because I'm not a very patient person, and when I want it now. So this has definitely been a learning experience for me, that I can't rush the medical clearance process. I have to wait once a month, wait for my cycle. Even right now, my cycle is 2 weeks late after being on estrase for 21 days, which when I Google it, and I was told by my clinic that it's normal for estrase to throw off your natural cycle. So I'm not surprised that it's late. I'm just ready for it to start, and I have no control over when it's going to start, which can be a little scary, but the big part of it is I just need to be patient. It'll happen when it happens, and then we can keep going forward from there. And that's kind of the same thing when it came to my failed transfer. Was it happened, there's nothing we can do to undo it. The transfer failed, the embryo did not stick. I'm gonna pass the embryo, and there was nothing I could have done differently. There was nothing the embryo could have done differently, nothing the fertility clinic could have done differently. It was just something that happened. We had to let ourselves grieve and then move on, and then be patient starting the process again so my embryo transfer failed with my past parent. It was actually the same parents I had the son for, and after the failed transfer, within the week they had decided they didn't want to do another egg retrieval because they were out of eggs. They didn't want to do another egg retrieval, and that they were just going to be happy with whom they had. And the agency, Giving Tree Surrogacy, was immediately on the ball and was like, hey, we have more families that want you. Hey, we have these intended parents that want you. This intended mother is interested. This intended father is interested. And they were lining up at the door ready with more people. And they weren't gonna, because I think they felt like if they didn't immediately offer me a new family, that I would want to give up on the surrogacy process. Having a failed transfer was very hard, especially after the first one stuck and we had a successful journey. So going into the second journey, I was very optimistic that everything was going to go exactly the same way as it did the first time. I was working with the same family, same clinic, same medications, everything, and it just didn't work. So I was pretty blindsided. Not blindsided, I should have known there's a chance that this was gonna happen, but I had convinced myself that there's no way. So it was pretty surprising when it happened. I think they wanted, the Giving Tree Surrogacy wanted to let me know that like I am still qualified to be a surrogate. Having a failed transfer does not mean I will not be a surrogate still. So they were on the ball of getting me matched with a new family right away. Then we just had to wait for medical clearance again, waiting for my uterine lining to be thick enough. I don't know if the failed transfer took a lot of out of me. My first uterine lining check, I think I was only 4 millimeters, even though we want me to be at 8. So I know there's a lot of women who have issues with having a thin lining. There's so many women going through their own FET cycles and doing their own IVF. There's so many surrogates going through it as well, trying to get that uterine lining thick, which is why I was able to do a good amount of research and find a bunch of things. So after medical clearance, then comes legal clearance. So once you're qualified to be a surrogate, in my case, what I've experienced is the intended parents' lawyer will make a contract and send it to your lawyer. And then you will go over the whole contract, 39 pages last time, with a fine-tooth comb. You want to read everything in that contract. And then you discuss with your lawyer what you do and don't like. The lawyer knows a little bit more about the surrogacy contract and what's legal and what's not than I do. So I kind of just listen to their advice of, hey, we should add this paragraph, or this one double explains something else explained up here. So let's take out this second one, it's unnecessary. So I listened to my lawyer, I read through it with them, and we were able to fix it. We passed it back and forth 4 times last time, and it took a week in between every passing. So it was like almost 6 full weeks between when we first started signing the contract and when we actually had it signed. Because nothing can keep going. You can't start medications, you can't do anything while you're waiting for that legal clearance. So legal clearance was also a learning curve for me on being patient. But after legal clearance, it moves so fast, for me anyway. The first time with the successful transfer and the failed transfer, everything goes so quickly. You sign the papers, the next period they have you start your injections, both your estradiol and your progesterone. You start your progesterone inserts. They give you all the pills you're gonna take during the embryo transfer. And basically, like within 3 weeks after signing legal clearance and signing your contract, you're getting pregnant. So it's super exciting after that, and it's not so much about patience because then you're doing the embryo transfer, and if it sticks, you're pregnant. And you do your shots until you're 10 to 12 weeks along, and then you are just pregnant, and then you're only experiencing that part of it. And it is so exhilarating getting to that part of surrogacy because of how much you're excited about giving these parents a baby, because you know how much you love babies. I love babies. I love my son. I love being a mother, and I'm so excited to give them the same thing, as well as stopping injections is always a good thing. So just being pregnant is the best part of the surrogacy journey, is getting past all these hurdles of medical clearance, legal clearance, embryo transfer, injections, and then eventually just pregnant. I'm very excited to get to the point where I'm just pregnant. I'm just pregnant, and I'm gonna get to the delivery day, and then you're just counting down the days. You're eating healthy, you're exercising well, you're talking to the family, sending them bump photos, you're telling them about the first time they kick. It is such a wonderful experience being a surrogate. I cannot wait to get to this medical clearance so that I can get to that point with this new family. They're going to be amazing parents, and I'm so excited to start this journey with them. Giving Tree